Sound way up.
And now's the time when things are shifting. There's gonna be a new world order out there. And we've got to lead it.
True international under pressure.
You are fake news.
I am not suicidal.
We'll circle back with you directly. If I can circle back, I'll circle back with you. Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Hello and welcome to the 272nd episode of the Jeffrey and Brian Show. I am Jeffrey.
And I'm Brian.
Oh, these two guys drinking some beers, talking about what's going on. Busy couple weeks since Trump has taken office. I'm sure you've
It's
noticed.
a whirlwind.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, bring up this first one and follow up. We'll get into the whirlwind, but it's funny because you made a comment on it, and I said the same thing out loud before I read the whole article.
Yeah. Well, apparently, there's word out that Trump plans on pardoning former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. He actually commuted his sentence the first time he was in office. He was sentenced to like 11 years in federal prison, and Trump
Yeah, he
wiped
made
that
time
out.
served basically.
Yeah, yeah. But now it
Yeah.
looks like he's talking about wiping the slate clean completely. So
Yeah, well, that allowed the guy to run for office again, I suppose. I don't
I
know if
don't
anyone
think,
will vote for him, but he could
yeah,
legally.
yeah. Well, I'd listened to a little bit of an interview on the Joe Rogan show with him, and it sounded like typical federal government stuff. They decided they want to make an example of somebody, and he happened to be the person they chose. So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's another good example. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City is having his charges dropped from Trump's Justice Department.
yes.
That seemed like the thing. As soon as Adams came out and said anything about the immigration in New York City, all of a sudden he was getting nailed with everything from every direction.
Right. And
Which
they're saying that their justification is it's too close to an election. So because the DOJ says they can't bring charges against a sitting president or a candidate within a certain period of an election. So Trump's
mm,
using the same justification on this case.
saying how you did this to politically motivate the voters, and they're
Yeah,
basically committed
yeah.
voter fraud.
They're saying that if you want to retry him after the primary and election, that's your choice. But a bunch of people that were a bunch of attorneys that were on the case, they've already resigned in protest. Oh no,
Well,
what will we do?
it's funny that so he does this for Eric Adams for exactly that. And principle, whatever, I guess, sure, I understand. But usually these politicians do each other favors, you know what I mean? He stopped doing favors for the left, so they took a dump on him. So Trump does a favor for him by dropping his charges.
Yeah, and he's
Now,
agreed to help out with immigration enforcement in New York City.
well, here's the problem: is he said that, but he's looking to sue the Trump admin for
He is
$80 million.
not. You got to read that article.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay,
one of his departments. The lawyer department of New York
gotcha.
City is doing the suing, not Mayor Adams.
Kind of like the president gets credit or blame for something that happens that's
Yeah,
often
they're
not the
saying
president.
they're saying because they're going to use internal lawyers and not hire outside counsel, they don't need the mayor's permission to sue. They're trying to claw back the
Clawback.
59 million billion dollars that was just paid to them for housing of
That
illegals in
that's
the
actually in
luxury
here.
hotels. Yeah, that's all tied into
Yeah.
the same article.
Exactly. It's all this stuff ties together, but they're separate categories, and it's frustrating because you don't know where to put them because they won't fit into the conversation. They'll fit in the conversation in multiple places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean the FEMA money that they are making a big deal about for these migrants. North Carolina residents are still pissed off that these migrants are getting help in New York City, but the homeless people in North Carolina from this hurricane,
Are living in tents in the winter.
yeah, and exactly in the winter. And don't get me wrong, North Carolina doesn't get super cold, but it's cold enough you don't want to be sleeping out in a tent. Unless you got
Parts
some
of
real
New
gear and know
York
what you're
it's
doing.
pretty cold. Parts of New York, North Carolina is in the mountains.
Some of it, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Not all of it's the beach and constant
Oh,
78-degree weather.
there's parts of it that are on the Appalachian Trail. So
It's very true. Very true. I'm up here on the Appalachian Trail. Well, I say trail along the mountain range myself, and it is very different weather here from it is 20 miles away because it's down a mountain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that, dude. Like I'll have a foot and a half of snow here, and I'll drive down to get like a pack of smokes and a case of beer for the show, and there'll be no snow on the ground down in town. And it's only 20 miles away, but down like 2,500 feet vertically. You know?
Hmm.
All right. So apparently NASA's going to do something for these stuck astronauts. I thought Elon Musk was going to handle that.
Yeah, I think they're either using Elon Musk to bring him back.
Well, so they're going to claim that okay. Well, I guess it's NASA and not Boeing. Maybe that was what it was.
Well, I mean, it's still they're still coming back on the Boeing ship, so the SpaceX. So
Yeah. Okay. So that's all it is. They're finally coming back, is what NASA's announcing, and Elon Musk is going to go do it.
yeah,
Uh, as much as people want to hate this guy, it's like you have to keep buying his products. You know what I mean? So the government's like, oh. And I think it's in here about his Teslas being sold to the government, but I'm not sure. We'll find out. Um, so all right. So last week we were talking about how it seems like Trump has some kind of like blitzkrieg lightning war going on. Um, do so many things in a row that left doesn't have a chance to protest because something else
yeah,
has already happened.
yeah.
James Carville is saying the same thing.
Uh-huh. And
He's
they don't have a combat for how fast he's moving. This is
yeah,
totally opposite of his first term. His first term, he kind of came in slow, did a few executive orders, and was getting his feeling of how the government works. And like you said, this is balls to the wall. Uh,
yeah, he's gonna knock out
he showed
when he
up
can
on
again.
inauguration day with a stack of executive orders to sign in the arena in front of. He brought the little desk just like he said he was.
Oh man,
He signed oodles and oodles of executive orders right in front of thousands of people.
I'll bring the little desk. Oh man, but yeah, so exactly the left does they don't have a chance to react to what's going on to get people all riled up. You know what I mean? And Trump's approval rating is still in the
Through the
positive right
roof.
now.
Through the
Yeah,
roof. Yeah.
which CNN had a thing. I almost shared it to you, but I didn't care enough. The guy doing the little graphics thing was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" People still like Trump. It's like, dude, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, because he's actually doing what he said he was going to do when he ran, and he's doing things that the average American cares about. And the average American on either the left or the right care about some of these things. They care about saving money in the government. They care about, waste, fraud, and abuse.
Well, that's what's getting me with this Doge thing is hearing everybody defending all this money we're spending. Like they got into the IRS. Everyone's like, "Oh, you can't audit the IRS." Like the guy, they're defending the guys who literally steal money out of your paycheck every
Right.
week. You know,
Yeah.
like,
If there's
this is
every
a
agency should be able to be audited. They work for the people.
yeah. Just like I'm waiting for a Federal Reserve audit, but what is there to audit? They just printing machine go burr when the government says they need it, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So tell me why all the libertarians are excited about Trump's victory now.
Because he swears up and down he's looking for ways to get rid of the education department.
I agree with get rid of the Department of
It
Education. What do
should be
you think?
handled at the state level.
Yes, because of the 10th Amendment and what is it, Article 9 of the
But
Constitution.
the newly appointed education secretary believes that this will take an act of Congress to do.
To disassemble a department, I would think so,
Yeah,
right?
right,
It took an act of Congress to put in place.
right.
Um, I don't know. Do you think it has a chance of getting through? Like everyone's like, oh yeah, yeah, it'll never happen. But I don't think anyone's ever actually tried to disassemble the Department of Education before.
No, and I think it's got a. The problem with it depends on how they end up doing it. If they try to put it in like a reconciliation bill in the Senate, where it's only a majority is needed to do it, then maybe. But since they've got to get the closure vote on most bills in the Senate where they need 60 people, that means they would need all 53 Republicans to vote for it and 7 Dems to vote for it.
Mm. Well, if you want the government to have some kind of standard that extends nationwide, you could put that standard out and the states could choose independently what they want to do.
Right, and how to implement it.
Yeah, I mean, like the presidential physical fitness thing that we used to do when we were kids. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
They don't do that anymore, you know. But there was a thing that went down that came from the White House. Here's what we hope these children can do. And you got like a little certificate if you did. Like so many pull-ups and push-ups and ran so
Uh-huh.
fast. You can do the same thing with did you cover this material, this material, this material? Did you get this score? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then it's the same thing as like a welding or a plumbing certification. Yeah. But again, I don't think it's necessary for the government to be involved in this because uh what's happening in DC has nothing to do with what's happening here in my middle of nowhere county. You know what I mean?
yeah.
All right. So, okay, remember I think it was Obama changed Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty
Uh-huh.
because it was named after some Confederate general, I believe.
Right, yes, uh-huh.
JD Vance has announced, I'm sorry, not Vance, I'm sorry, Hegseth
Hedgepeth.
announced
Yep.
it's now Fort Bragg again, but
But it's not a different brag.
it's a different Bragg. It's a World War II guy who was highly decorated.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think it's hilarious, but
it's funny. That's
I'm gonna go back to how I disagreed with them changing all the names in the first place because of the amount of money that was spent doing it.
yes,
And
you're
now
right.
we're gonna change everything back again.
You just hoping all the signs are sitting in storage. But no, you're definitely right. It ain't cheap to just to change the signage at every gate and Chow Hall, everything. You know,
Yeah.
your mailing address changes. Come on. Okay, so what do you think this next one about? Trump is telling Treasury to stop minting pennies, which I've heard a lot of people say that they like the idea because what's the point of a penny, right?
Well, he's saying it's costing more to mint it than it is worth. It costs like 3 cents for every penny that's made,
So are we going to keep pennies in circulation longer?
or get
Like,
rid of the pennies altogether.
well, the problem I have with destroying the penny, like deleting it, is that the nickel just becomes the penny,
I
right?
mean,
I suppose you'll get one or zero back instead of up to four. But I mean,
because I know
who's
at the VFW I go to, they've outlawed pennies in the post. I mean, the lowest denomination's a nickel. You know, they don't even accept pennies for anything. You can't even give them 5 pennies and replace them with nickels. So,
that's just, I mean, I understand why it's annoying, but that's the whole thing is to have a smallest unit of currency.
hmm
And I guess, I mean, you can't even get penny candy anymore, but this is just showing how much inflation matters because pennies used to buy me candy. Now to the point where we're gonna say we're gonna stop even making them. Does that mean I can't get like a 2026 proof set with a penny in it if this goes through?
I don't think it'll take effect that fast.
Hmm.
And
Right.
who's the deciding authority? Is this something that the president can decree, or is this something that's got to go through Congress?
Well, see, this is the big issue I have with the economic system in general in the United States. Says, yeah, a lot of people want to destroy the Fed, but what are you going to do instead? Like,
Right.
what are you going to replace it with? Is Kathy yelling at you?
No,
All right. One of them blurs behind you. Looks like it might be a person. Mm,
probably. I mean, I think no, the
That's
door's closed. So,
that's all right. No worries. Oh, I forgot what I was talking about. I just got distracted. I thought she was standing over your shoulder waiting to yell at you. Yeah, we were talking about pennies. Oh yeah, I want to find out when it will stop being minted then, and make sure I buy uh mint in package pennies from the year before. I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of coin collecting, but I got a mint set for like the years my daughters were born too, you
okay,
know.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here in West Virginia, we got the FBI offered a $10,000 reward because some dude for 31 minutes like slipped into a power plant for unknown reasons. He was wearing like these navy blue coveralls with orange reflective stripes on the sleeves. He's on video. There's pictures of the guy. No, they have no idea what he was doing there. But that makes me a little nervous that it's that easy to get through whatever they have to keep people out of power plants, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, depending on the type of power plant, that could cause an issue itself with sabotage, let alone the fallout from not having electricity to all the locals, you know?
right.
So, uh, there also might have been some guy whacked out on PCP. You never know. Uh, oh, yeah, they found a body out in York County over by Virginia.
Yep, right near where I go to work.
Oh, there you go. And a woman's been picked up a charge for murder.
Yes, manslaughter charges.
Yeah,
Um,
manslaughter,
the
not the
guy was
same.
reported missing leaving Haas's bar in Delhi.
Pedestrian, right?
Yep, he was walking down the road and she hit him and kept on going. And then they pulled her over in a different town in Newport News, the next town over, a few days later after that happened, and arrested her for a DUI that day and noticed the damage on the car. And
Oh,
the two places put the things together. Basically, this guy was laying in a ditch near water for like 3 days before they found the body.
what every mother is worried about happens to their kid as soon as they're supposed to be home and they're not home. I thought you were laying in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
That sucks. That happened to someone else recently too. With a illegal migrant carjacked him and left him. No, maybe hit a pedestrian, left him on the side of the road in a ditch. A little girl. We talked about it on the show. I can't remember the details. Is Haas's is still open?
Yep.
Man, it's not a biker bother anymore, is it?
It still is.
All right. I used to
Not this
enjoy
time
going
of
there when I
year
was
as
younger.
much, but
Well, yeah. All right. So the World Boxing Organization's lightweight title
Yep.
has made its way to Virginia, back to Virginia, I guess.
Uh-huh.
No,
This
maybe not back.
guy, he's from this Keyshawn Davis is from Norfolk, and he won the championship bout in the fourth round, and now has the this happened in Madison Square Garden last night. So
That's awesome. Good for him. I don't follow boxing,
I don't really either, but
but
it
I
was a
do
Norfolk
respect this.
thing. So
Yeah, I respect the sport. And fuck, for all we know, at one point we had a beer with this guy, watching MMA or something, you know?
uh-huh.
All right. Well, boxers get beat up, need a lot of medical attention, but the medical community is getting kind of crazy. A lot of activists are behind this anti-Trump warfare that's going on,
Okay.
uh, especially concerning the COVID stuff. And like a judge just got involved and told the uh, all these different web pages to put up all the stuff that they just took down.
Yeah, they told the federal government they had to restore the HHS pages, the CDC pages, and the FDA pages that Trump administration.
What authority does this judge have to do that?
Well, he's saying that the executive branch didn't have the authority to take the pages down.
Who does?
You would think the heads of the different organizations.
And yeah, all those organizations are federal branch, right? Like, I mean, they're all under the presidency, not under Congress, for example. That's why we brought up these three-letter agencies so many times especially when I was ranting about libertarianism. And here it comes again. All these fucking three-letter agencies, dude, are all just created by the president and allowed to do whatever the hell they want to do by Congress.
Mm,
They've taken over what Congress is supposed to be doing, and it's under the executive. And now the judge is saying, no, the executive doesn't have the authority. I may agree with you, but he didn't have the authority to create them in the first place. Sorry. Not the way it's supposed to work. One person isn't supposed to say we're going to make a center for disease control. It's supposed to be the people
right.
come together and vote, and not even
Yeah.
necessarily like you and me voting, but like our congressmen vote on it. So sorry, it just frustrates the crap out of me that this judge says the the boss man doesn't have the authority to stop what the boss man put in place,
Right. Just because it's
even if
different
it's
boss.
even though it's a different guy in the same position. Yeah. Just like Doge, they're all pissed off at Doge. This was created by Obama. It was called the DIS, the Digital Information something something.
Yeah, yeah. They just changed the meaning of the acronyms and took over the office.
Yeah, and everyone's like, you don't have the authority to do it. It's like, Obama did it. So I guess it was a problem when he did it because, like, just like who built the cages, Joe? You know.
Right.
Anyway, okay. So are you familiar with this Ozempic craze going on?
Yes. This is what everybody's taking for weight loss. It was originally designed for diabetes, and they realized people could lose weight on it well too, so they started selling it for that.
Well, from what I understand from a couple people I've spoken to that have used this medication, this drug, excuse me, have said that it basically reduces their hunger. That that signal from the stomach to the brain that says eat.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem is they're not changing their diet, so they're not getting the nutrition they really need. They're just wasting away. So they're not actually
Yeah.
getting healthy by losing weight. The healthy stuff is being consumed to fuel the body. So
Yeah.
these folks lose weight, but then they basically fall apart because all that's left is the garbage that they're eating instead of changing their diet.
Right.
Um, it's to the point where people aren't getting the nutrition they need and they're being left fucking blind. Literally being left blind, dude.
Yeah, in one eye, and there's no sign of a cure for it.
Crazy thing is, this one woman who's actually diabetic had taken it for her diabetes, but woke up one morning and couldn't see out of her left eye. So she stopped taking it immediately. Like, holy crap. Doctors told her she was it was still in her best interest to go back on this medication like 8 months later. And she ended up losing the vision in the other eye. And I get it. Some of these diabetes cases are worse than others. Like people lose feet and vision. That's kind of a common issue.
But I don't think these side effects are necessarily happening to people that are using the medicine for diabetes. I think these are the weight loss people that these are happening to.
Typically, because there's more of them using it.
And they're using
But this
higher
poor woman,
doses than what people on using it for diabetes medicine for.
yeah, but do you know what I do? Uh, to to stifle that signal from my stomach to my brain that says you need to eat something. And
You
not only do you
smoke
need to eat
weed.
something, that does not help that problem. Uh, I just ignore it because a lot of the times I would rather have a chocolate cake and some ice cream, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna make dinner, with, steak, potatoes,
Hmm.
broccoli, rice. I don't know, man. Everyone says how expensive it is to live to eat healthy, but if you cut out most of the garbage, it would account for most of the healthy food. Uh, and I don't know about all you guys, but I gotta need a deep freeze. And when I go shopping, I'll wait for this deal on beef, like ground beef,
Right.
and I'll buy 15 pounds of it. And now I have beef for a month. So,
Okay.
anyway, this next one in here, this first one under Doge, as we were transitioning, I read this article minutes before we got going, and just shaded straight into here. And I left the article open because I had to close like 7 ads to get it open. I was so angry.
Oh, I hate those.
Yes. But Alyssa Milano is looking to sue Elon Musk for $40 million because he started her career on a downward decline. That's what she's saying. Basically, him not censoring people that were telling her she was stupid on X ruined her reputation. It's like you put stuff out there. He didn't stop people from telling you were dumb.
Right.
And now she's suing him. I think it's kind of funny. Um, because I mean, have you ever heard Elon Musk even mention her name?
Nope.
No, seems like it's coming out of nowhere, but that's how full these folks are. Yeah. All right, what else is going on?
Well, Joe Rogan's come out and said that the nitwits and the gummer um, are screwing up by locking horns with Elon Musk.
Yeah, for a couple of reasons. A lot of these guys, especially in the media, have no idea what they're talking about because, like we said, this is an organization that Obama set up that's been in place that no one cared about.
Right.
Uh, I mean, that's the big one right there. It's like this doesn't bother you. It was in place last time Trump was in office, you know. And Elon Musk knows what he's doing. He's not a fool. He's not there to. I love it how people always say he's got your social security numbers in the IRS. Yeah, you're right. He's gonna rip you off. You know what I mean? The richest man in the world is going to get you, but the guy you fucking bought a truck from on the side of the road next to a gas station isn't going to rip you off, right?
Right.
Jeez, do people understand how much they hand out the social security number and not even think about it? Like, I don't know. You ever taken out a loan?
Yep.
And a lot of people say you don't take your social security number. Sure, it is. That's to go do a credit report. Anyway, sorry. Trump went ahead and signed the paperwork telling Doge to immediately cut the federal workforce because we're way overmanned.
Yep.
And well, we were talking about that. He was offering to pay you through September to just quit your job now.
Right.
Was it 77,000? Almost 77,000.
Had taken the buyout. Yeah.
Yeah, man. A lot of guys might want to go and try to be in that band and hit it big, or they're gonna take these months to get paid and go find the civilian side job that pays better. You know, so what was it? September. So you have uh, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 7 months pay
Yep.
to go find a better paying job, dude. That's plenty of time to
Go
go turn
find
this
out.
into to turn it in the civilian sector and make more money than you do working for the government. Should be anyway, unless you're Anthony Fauci, right?
Right. But this goes to show how cushy the government jobs are once you get into them, because only 77,000 people jumped on the opportunity to move on.
The fact that you could say only 77,000 people pisses me off because how many people do we really need to work in the federal government?
A
Like what
fraction of
is
what
their
we have.
yeah, what is their actual jobs? Because we have too many people working in these three-letter organizations, you know?
Mhm.
I don't know, man. All right. Uh, USAID is going to turn out to be a giant thorn in the Democrat side. They need to stop defending this crap. Uh, the Democrats in particular, like they need to rebrand immediately. I don't know what they're any of them are thinking trying to double down against this stuff at this point.
Right.
And this is the perfect chance they have. I mean, especially if they blew it so big with Harris. Go ahead and take this term, at least this term, and run someone decent against JD Vance. If you win, great, you've turned it back around. If you didn't, Vance is going to win a second one unless he really blows it, right?
Right.
And that I mean that's like up to 12 years for the Democrats to rebrand and change everything about their party, reorganize, restructure.
Yeah.
But they're still like defending the IRS for taking your paycheck. Like we need to fund the Moroccan pottery classes and the gender studies in Pakistan. What?
Right.
All
Oh
right.
no, that's not really happening. That's just
No, it's going in some dude's pocket who
propaganda.
says he's running it. The thing is, it's not really happening. That's the thing. This money is going into some dude's pocket who's running the program, and it's disappearing there. Uh, so, do you follow Megan Kelly?
Not really.
Okay, because you share a lot of Megan Kelly stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that. So it must just show up in your feed. Most I see of Megan Kelly is when she occasionally does something with Paul Rubin and Dave Rubin, and I barely watch any of his stuff. But apparently she predicted the courts were going to side with Trump concerning the wasteful spending.
I believe they
I,
will in the long run.
yeah, I thought so too, but I was like at the same time, these guys are trying to cover it, protect each other. At least that's the way it seems. Why these judges are getting involved in shit they shouldn't have a say in. But Doe's just got access to three more federal agencies in a courtroom too.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thought you were going to be speaking when I came back from urinating.
No, I just paused it.
Oh, okay, that works. Sorry, I would have said something then. I just had to pee, and I was like, I can't. I got to find the time to get up and walk away and pee. Uh, while it's paused, I'm going to point out I have a literal.
All right. Yeah. So basically, a court came out on the West Coast saying that Doge can have access to three federal agencies right now.
I think one of them might have been the IRS. I'm not sure. That might be what I was referring to.
It's
I know.
Department of Labor, Youth and Human Services, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Was it again? What are these things? What's the Department of Labor? Uh,
That's the uh, I don't even know.
go go ahead and say unions because unions are private, aren't they?
Yeah,
So what does the Department of Labor do? Well, they're the ones setting out laws to make sure it's safe to work. All right, do we need a Department of Labor to do that, or maybe just a congressman to write a bill every couple of years when something weird happens?
they're probably the people that set the minimum wage.
Maybe, and they're probably the guys that have fucking OSHA.
Yeah,
How
I
big a
think that would
pain
be
in
under
the,
that.
how big a pain in the ass has OSHA been for you in your history of working?
Not that big.
Yeah, okay, you never done the same kind of work I've done historically, have you?
No.
And I'm not, don't get me wrong, there are some certain safety protocols that should be there for everyone, but some of the stuff that OSHA regulates is just ridiculous. And it makes the job take twice as long, cost half as much money again. You know what I mean? And it leaves
Uh-huh.
the guys exhausted because they can't breathe after this ridiculous respirator for 5 hours or something. When it's something we could have knocked out in a couple minutes, or I'm sorry, in a half hour if we didn't have this weird. I don't know, man. It's one thing when I'm talking about regulations for firefighters. It's another thing for guys installing like fiberglass in your home construction project. If they don't want to wear a respirator, that's their fucking problem. We all know that fiberglass insulation causes cancer issues. If you decide not to wear a respirator, that's your problem at this point, I think. But again, that's my libertarian show and saying, why are we spending money telling people not to be stupid? Just let them be stupid if they want to do it. You
Yeah.
think it's a good idea to take a bath and toast a bagel at the same time? I say, go ahead, buddy. All right. Oh, so do we have the world record for oldest human being alive?
Apparently,
We got
since
150.
Elon Musk found somebody that's getting Social Securities for 150 years old.
Yeah, yeah. And I understand that on the scale of the trillions of dollars we spend, the couple $1,000 that go here and there, but that's happening in a lot of places in a lot of different organizations. And if
My
these people are supposed
hilarious
to be,
thing is the how we're doing the federal retirement paperwork.
oh my God, I saw this.
I didn't
I
believe it
I
was true at
I thought it was
first.
I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a meme. Tell me what's going on in this
Apparently,
mine
there's a
shaft, I
there.
guess.
Well, it's Iron Mountain in Colorado, and there's a bunch of servers there, and private corporations use it too. And apparently, there's the federal government uses it to manually store all the paperwork for people retiring from the federal government. Only 10,000 people are allowed to retire in a month because that's as fast as they can handle the paperwork.
Okay, it's one thing to say we're going to do physical paperwork, but why do you need to keep it forever? Especially now that it's not 1930. Okay.
Right.
Well,
This
you
all
could,
started in the 50s, and apparently the
okay.
system ain't been updated since the 50s.
Yeah, you could put a digital hard drive, like an external storage device, and store all of this information in one tiny little box and put it inside of a Faraday cage to protect it. Boom. Now you don't need a mountain to store your retirement paperwork. And why do we need? Oh my God. Okay. I understand why you might use a mountain to like put your servers in because it'd be cool, like less cooling cost. I actually brought this up before that Google should put their servers at the Arctic, like all the way North Pole, and just let the weather keep the servers cool.
Wouldn't that probably make global warming go faster?
Well, okay, then you put some Stirling engines on top that work on the difference between temperatures, and you spin an engine from expanding gases and create free electricity to help fuel the servers you're running anyway. All right. Well, while we're talking about crazy stuff like 150-year-old people getting Social Security benefits. Apparently, housing and urban development lost. Was it 1 point something billion dollars?
Yeah,
$1.9 billion got
it was
lost.
misplaced.
Um, Musk managed to, or Doge anyway, managed to find it. And this is something that I've tried to point out to people that just don't quite get it. When things get this huge, this is how nuclear missiles go missing. It's
Right.
not that it's not that it's like lost in the desert somewhere. It's sitting in a factory in a warehouse and nobody knows it's there.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. The government's so huge that $1.9 billion just got lost sitting in an account somewhere. No one knew where
And
it came from
nobody
or what.
noticed.
Even if they did notice, like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna tell my boss, and they're gonna say, "Shut the fuck up,"
Right.
right? Geez, and the wasteful spending in the government. It's to the point, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Have been in the service, but like I used to spend $600 on a fucking hammer buying through this. Like, oh, it's different. It's like Monopoly money. Like, no, it's not like Monopoly money. This company's getting paid real US dollars.
Right.
And this selling me the same hammer I can get at Lowe's for like 350, you know? And
That's
this is the
correct.
shit that this is the shit we've been pointing out for years, and not just us, a lot of people. They go, what are we gonna do about it? We're gonna crack down. Well, maybe this is it. You know, people signing shady paperwork to get backroom deals. The left keeps talking about when they're not in office, but boom, here are all the deals that we've seen.
Right.
Fuck. Oh my God. They were going to build a museum for Fauci, dude.
It was an exhibit, a museum
Okay.
exhibit. And
Uh,
it was gonna be on display, I think, in the Health and Human Services or something like that.
what
And
did Fauci do well?
nothing. But it was 180 million dollars in contracts and 170 million dollars for this Anthony Fauci museum. So it got canceled.
$350 million.
It was
So we all know how.
going in the NIH museum. I'm sure that's a well-visited museum in DC.
But really, what did I mean? I can come up with two situations on the top of my head that Fauci's name showed up at all, and that was COVID and AIDS.
Yeah, he did good in both of them.
Yeah, I don't remember his name coming up at all when polio started popping up randomly in measles. Mhm. But yeah, it's just, you said $350 million
Yeah,
allocated to remind all of us how great Fauci is.
right.
Yo, $350 is a drop in the bucket. Fuck you. You know what? You hand me $350 million and I will do more with that money to help my community and my nation than Fauci did, I think. And don't get
Right.
me wrong, I'm sure Fauci did some good stuff. Like I just his name wasn't in the news with the great stuff he was involved in. Every time
No.
he lied to us about wearing masks, they made up social distancing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go back to the vets now and how much money is being wasted by the government. Apparently, the Department of Veteran Affairs had $178,000 in Politico Pro subscriptions. Isn't this exactly what we were talking about? How all of a sudden
Yeah.
Politico couldn't make payroll?
Right. Yeah. We talked about this last week. Yeah.
Jeez, it's almost like we're from the future. I mean, it's so much money, man. A lot of this money, I would rather you give it to some random American citizen. Give it to some random homeless guy. He's going to do more with this money than half of this garbage. You know what I
Right.
mean? Homeless guy, okay, he may be a drug addict, sick man in the head who doesn't want to get better, but he's still going to move money around the community. He's not just going to be stinking fucking rich by himself,
Right.
making more money on it. All right. Oh my God. I'm sorry. This next one pissed me off. Oh my God, they're making the frogs gay.
Well, we need to spend $10 million on that. Who needs transgender animals? What is the point of that?
This is clearly experimenting on animals before you do humans. At least that's what I see with it. Nancy Mace, I believe, is the one who pointed this out. Like, what are we doing spending $10 million transing animals? That $10 million to do a lot better. If here you go. Throw a dart at a list on the wall of random elementary schools throughout the country and give them that $10 million instead. It's going to do
Right.
better, right?
Yeah. It's definitely going to go a lot further.
That's brand new
Yeah.
school books for like the
What
entire
happens
school.
so we're going to create animals that can't reproduce. So,
Yeah.
they die off after one generation.
Oh my God. But DHS, Department of Homeland Security Chief Christy Nome, uh, pulled back, was it 59 million or something?
Yeah, we started talking about this
We
earlier in
did.
the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why
Uh,
the city of New York, the one department in the city of New York is suing the federal government trying to get that money back.
FEMA, we had a whole big argument about FEMA giving money to migrants with the hurricane, and they told us, they assured us this was not happening, right?
Right. Yeah, they sure
And now
did.
they're suing us for taking the money back.
Yeah,
I,
because it
I
was
just,
happening.
I can't make heads or tails out of the arguments these guys make. And
And I
what's
don't
worse
think
is that,
FEMA should be the one giving money for illegal aliens.
was that?
FEMA shouldn't be the one handing out money for illegals. It should be a different branch of the service.
Yeah, or
FEMA
maybe not
should
at
be,
all.
we're dealing with natural disasters, earthquakes, fires, floods.
I hate to say it, but I can't think of anything that would specifically help illegal migrants besides the military. And I know it sounds terrible, but they would have authority. They could bring these people together and put them into camps. And concentration camps. But it's somewhere to house them until you can figure out what to do instead of letting them loose randomly to disappear within the confines of the nation.
Yeah,
Don't like it? Don't break into the nation. All right, this next one had me a little concerned at first because it was affecting enlisted pay.
right.
But I know it's a fact there's tons of abuse when it comes to the different pay systems in the service.
Hmm.
I mean, how many people got married just to get the pay
BH.
bump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh and shit, I was getting BAS, and technically I lived on base, but I didn't. Well, Navy, you know how Navy is.
Yeah.
I didn't have a bear. What do they call it? Oh my God,
Galley.
galley. I was gonna say scullery or cafeteria. They didn't have a galley that I could go to and eat with my ID card except on the ship. So like if I wanted to have breakfast on Saturday, I had to get up, go to the ship that was
Right.
in it was a dry dock in Newport News from Norfolk, Virginia. And so technically I broke the rules by eating off base, getting paid to eat off base while I lived on base. But at least where I was allowed to eat wasn't where I lived. Like they actually made an exception, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the entire crew did. Because they had buses come and pick us up and take us to the Newport News dry dock.
Right.
Oh dear God, dude. That job sucked.
And the dry dock just sucks in general.
That's what I meant was working on the ship in dry dock with all the civilians. And don't get me wrong, the civilians doing their thing. They were absolutely necessary and they were making money and bringing it to the community. But they did it a different way than we did. So it cost a lot of headbutting, especially when I was on duty as fire marshal and I'm trying to file hot work paperwork,
Uh-huh.
all the chits. And I'm reading the stuff coming from the civilians. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do. I don't know where you're gonna do it. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I don't know. When I wrote up paperwork, because I was gonna do a weld in like a corner, I'd have to put every space it affected, who's gonna be in that space with a fire extinguisher, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And that's how why fires happen when the civilians were doing the jobs, though.
Okay.
Oh. Anyway, apparently a judge stopped Trump from sending migrants, Venezuelan criminal migrants, to Guantanamo Bay. Uh, so I'm not even sure how he did, but he somehow managed to send them to Venezuela anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought the reason why they were going to Gitmo was because Venezuela wouldn't take them.
Oh, he's must have sweet talked Venezuela because they took him.
Oh, and I had this next one in migration here
Yeah.
because don't know if everyone realizes, but a U.S. citizen who got busted with pot gummies got picked up in Russia, just like
You'd think
that
that
W
after Brittany Griner, people would learn
Griner.
their lesson.
Yeah, well, this was before Brittany Griner apparently, but he wasn't a WNBA star, so he didn't get released.
Ah, okay.
Well, he's been released, and here's what they're saying: is they're saying he's being released and returned to the United States, deported.
Yeah.
Right? We're
Okay.
sending you out of our
Okay,
country.
this is the person they chose not to get out instead of Brittany Griner when we gave him the
Yes.
warlord.
Mm-hmm. The Lord of War. They actually made a movie out of this guy, and we turned him loose for a woman that nobody can name now if their life depended on, it, except for Brian. I,
Yep.
I'm impressed, Brian. 'Cause I was like, "Oh, who's that WNBA woman?" You're like, Brittany Griner, by the way, was
We talked about her a lot back in the
she's
day.
nuts. No one gives a shit about women's basketball. Let's be real, dude. Women aren't watching it either, you know? Why would you watch the women play if you could watch the men play? Oh, these men are better. They're better at basketball.
I mean,
This okay.
Caitlin Clark brought a lot of people to watch it this last season, attendance
To
was way
check it
up.
out, but then
Yeah.
she apologized for being white.
So people probably are not going to go watch her next year either.
Yeah. I mean, they literally lose money every season. You know that, right?
Yeah.
The NBA subsidizes the WNBA. Which, by the way, while we're talking about that for a minute, did you watch the Super Bowl and see the commercial when the women's flag football
Yes,
and
I
it was a
saw it.
little skinny black girl
It was stupid.
and three big mean white guys, and she just ran around them. I was like, "You talk? Oh my god!"
Make flag football great again.
I'm cool with flag football. I am, but like, it's not the same game, and you know it.
No.
And did you see what's her name there? Taylor Swift get booed.
Yeah.
You see you see the look on her face, like, what the fuck is going on? Uh, I don't know because I'm not a lip reader, but I've seen several places saying she said something like, what is happening? Why?"
People are just tired of seeing her, talking about her.
That and she supported Biden. And then you go to the Super Bowl. You're not gonna get your fair weather not Brittany Griner, Taylor Swift fan going to the Super Bowl because
No.
that's not a cheap game.
Yeah.
You got hardcore football fans.
Yeah.
And Trump went to the game and only stuck around for what, the first quarter or something?
Yeah, that was probably for security reasons.
Well, here you go. Taylor Swift got booed. Trump got standing ovation.
Yep.
Just let you know that things are different than the mainstream media is trying to tell us.
Oh
You
yeah.
know? Did you watch the game?
I did. I watched like 2.5 quarters.
I watched it to the end. Uh, I placed a couple weird bets. You know what I mean? This weird stuff you could do, like
I was
bet
in football pools and didn't win
ah
anything, so
nothing.
no.
I got something about a weird penalty being called in a weird quarter. It cost me like 80 cents, and it was gonna be like a $10 payout. I'm like, sure, whatever. But there was one point in the game there, if you bet on the Chiefs to win, it was in the third quarter before they had scored. If you bet $100, you were going to win $500,000 when they were down
Right.
by like 36 or something.
Yeah, that was
And I was
never
like,
gonna happen.
yeah, I was like, shit. I was like, that would be nice, but for real, that's basically spending $100 on a weird random chance, you
Yeah.
know? I was like, if they did come back and win, the wife would go nuts. But if they lost, like, why'd you light $100 on fire? Anyway, Homeland Security wants the IRS at the border now, or rather involved in migrant
Yeah.
immigration enforcement. How would they be suited besides
Well,
sheer?
they have an armed police force as part of the IRS, so
Okay, so we're just gonna take the armed IRS guys. I don't know. Maybe you could find a way through tax fraud, you know, but I don't know. I
yeah.
mean, we did just hire
They want addition,
87,000.
including pursuing financial audits of businesses suspected of having undocumented workers. So yeah, that's
So like an
exactly what
old
they want to
school,
use them for.
so an old school ICE raid.
Yeah.
And the IRS is involved simply because they're not paying proper taxes and they're allowed to be involved in this, I guess. Or you illegally hired someone who's not here legally, which would be an IRS issue. All right. Didn't Trump just fire like 200,000 IRS agents?
I don't know.
I remember
I've given
seeing that.
up
I
trying to
thought,
keep track of it all.
well, I remember thinking specifically like Biden hired 87,000 more. Trump
Then
fired
I don't think those
200,000.
people actually ended up getting hired. I think it was all a publicity stunt.
We're going to hire more people to come take your money from you. They're not hiring more agents to go after 87,000 agents to go after the 1,100 billionaires or 347 billionaires.
Right.
They're coming for you because you had a yard sale. Actually, I know
Yeah.
somebody back in Massachusetts who was told by the government they owed like an extra $140. And they're like, wait a minute,
They,
what do you mean? Like, well, you had a yard sale and we're going to predict that you sold this much stuff or whatever. And that's exactly what it was. Like you sold, you had electronics out there, you had furniture. It's like, whoa, yeah, you pay your fair share, right? If you're going to claim pay your fair share, you better do it yourself.
yep.
And Brian, you work what? You file a 1099, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know exactly what that means by pay your
Yep.
fair share because you have to put that money aside when you get paid to make sure it pays taxes at the end of the year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then you cut a check for the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the problem is all these guys that have had jobs, quote jobs in terms of they handle payroll for me, have no idea, wouldn't even know how to claim that they sold their car
Right.
to some guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's the question: when you sell your car, do you claim it or do you always cash it into the dealership for the next one?
My last one, I don't buy cars very often. The last one I had was totaled, so
So insurance just bought you a new one.
yeah.
I recently purchased a Ram 1500 5.7 liter Hemi engine, motherfucker. Thing's a beast. It's a 2018, I think. Thing's a monster though. Uh, even
Going
that
on
old, it
gas
was
mileage.
depends. Am I going down the mountain or up the mountain? No, I'm averaging anywhere between 14 and 15 and a half miles a gallon. If I'm going down the mountain, I go all the way to like Walmart, I'll get up to almost 16.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ride back brings it back to the middle. Uh, but hey, actually, I'm driving the minivan lately because it gets better gas mileage. But that truck doesn't get stuck in the snow,
Okay.
you know? And
Right.
it can pull stumps out of the ground. It's funny, as we were looking at a smaller old S10
Uh-huh.
from Chevrolet. And like, I don't know, I like the truck. I've always liked the S10. I was like, yeah, but look at what's going on around here. I was like, if a rock slide landslide happens, at least the truck we have a chance to get home, you know? Anyway, even the New York Times now put out an opinion piece saying maybe Trump actually has a case concerning birthright citizenship. And check this out. He cited the same shit I did last week.
Right.
The whole jurisdiction of and I'm not some law genius, but I read it over and over and over again because like, what exactly do they mean by this?
Right.
And there you go. There's your possible chance. If anything happens with it, I don't know. But even the New York Times is saying this could actually happen.
I think something,
Uh,
I mean, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, so we'll see what they decide.
Almost certainly. Oh,
I
there we
mean,
go. We already.
there's only like a couple countries in the world that do this, so this would cut down on the countries that are sending 8-month-old pregnant people over here for a month and a half to have a baby.
The Chinese were doing that for a while. That was a big issue under Obama, I believe. That's why he got big on immigration with the anchor babies. Sorry, I had to plug them back in because I was all twisted up on my wire. Uh, all right. Did you see this? Trump telling Ukraine that they basically had to give him like $500 billion in rare earth minerals.
Yeah, it's
Huh?
yeah.
Yeah, to basically pay for all the money we've already given them. It's like, first of all, we gave them more than 500 billion already. But some of the stuff we have trouble getting our hands on, if we could just mine Ukraine for this, that might be worth the money we put in,
Yeah.
especially if Russia doesn't get involved with the US and NATO over this. But don't know how that's going to play out. Uh, and Chernobyl, when did Chernobyl happen? Was that the 80s?
Yeah.
Do you remember it happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't. I've always known about it. And I was born in the early 80s, but I don't remember. Well, I don't remember Challenger blowing up either.
I do.
Uh, well, Chernobyl apparently the plant has this protective shell around it, and I guess it got hit with a ordnance from I don't even know what it got hit by.
They're saying a
I,
Russian drone.
yeah. Why would Russia hit the power plant on purpose?
I have no idea.
And maybe it wasn't on purpose. Maybe it was just bad gear
Yeah.
with old tech. But everyone at once was like, all right, guys, you know what? Let's back up. Let's not fuck with the radioactive wasteland right now,
Yeah.
which is for the most part pretty safe
Well,
in
there's
general.
things
But
growing around Chernobyl again now too.
yes, but the wolves are very mutated. Meanwhile, Trump is the way Trump is dealing with Ukraine is really jacking up Europe. They have NATO in general is the rest of NATO is upset at Trump,
Yeah.
which I like what Trump had said was we're paying into all of this shit. You guys aren't doing any of it. Why are we even involved?
Right. If we pull out of NATO, there is no NATO.
No, exactly. Europe is going to use. These guys haven't built a military force since World War II because the United States has been part of their organization.
Yeah.
And we all know it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like Australia, for example, they're a big nation, may actually have a decent military. I don't know how many folks they keep enlisted. But like, there aren't even enough people in Germany. You know what I mean? Let alone to be trained elite soldiers. I think people keep forgetting how huge the United States is, dude. It's not China, it's not India, but there's a third billion people here. It's a lot of people. Uh, so moving on to the next conflict, besides Trump saying we might leave NATO and you guys should pay more into this and you guys need to stop fucking with Russia.
Yeah.
Uh, Trump is telling Hamas they need to release all of the rest of the hostages now.
And they released more yesterday or, Saturday
Yeah,
their time. So,
yeah. Again, I'll bring it up. I'll say it again. I'm genuinely surprised they're still alive at all. I assumed that they were dead within a month.
yeah.
Yeah, like Israeli cabinets backing this demand from Trump. Yeah, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Let your hostages go. Anyway, you remember them spy balloons that
Sure
flew
do.
over the? Yeah, apparently
We
they
let
had
them
a
fly
bunch.
all the way across the country and shot them down off the coast of South Carolina.
Yeah, take pictures of everything on the way there.
Yeah.
Apparently they had technology from a whole bunch of American companies involved in them.
At least 5.
Ooh. I mean, that's not necessarily something that they did wrong, but Chinese using our own gear to take pictures of our nuclear launch silos. Oh. Even the Chinese don't trust their own made in China shit. Meanwhile, the Northcom general has mentioned that not all these drones, many of these drones flying over military bases last year may well have been involved in surveillance programs from the United States military. It's exactly what I remember having specifically talked about on the show was it's probably the military checking responsiveness and readiness. You know what I mean? Like testing
Yeah.
stuff out, like if And then you have your random jackasses like me who are launching their own drones when they see another one. Yeah, don't know, but it made a big scare all of a sudden. Everyone goes freaking out about these fucking drones.
Yeah.
If the military was genuinely worried about it, they would have got permission to fire, you know?
I don't think Biden was handing out permission to fire.
Maybe. Well, and speaking about readiness, Truman's an aircraft carrier, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, what's that? 90,000 tons of American democracy where it's needed.
Something along those lines, yeah.
How do you smash 90,000 tons of steel in the ocean into another ship?
Well, I don't think it was in the ocean. I think it was they just left the port visit. So I think it was in restricted waters. And, you know, I don't know who's at fault, but we do know that the captain's not there anymore. The navigator's not there anymore. And a couple enlisted have went to captain's mast over this. Whether it was their
Really?
fault or not.
I was just, yeah, no, you're right. Whether it's their fault or not is right because the captain is going to hear what happened. Whether or not he thinks you did something wrong, he's going to hear what you have to say.
But it'll be
Uh,
a different captain. It won't be the captain that was there during the accident. He's already been
well,
relieved of duty.
if they were in fact in restricted waters, then the ship should have been in control of its own navigation, correct? We get tugs to come in and take
I don't know.
vessels.
Yeah, I don't know. We
Essentially,
don't have
the
any
bigger stuff.
details on it yet. We're real skimpy on the details for the articles.
Well, that's the way it always is, though, isn't it? Just like what happened with shooting down our own aircraft, right?
Yeah,
And Guapo's like, "Oh, I'll tell you all about it." It's like, "No, you won't, dude. Nope, that's never getting released. What really happened?"
right.
I almost put this in follow up, but wasn't sure. Well, I don't think we mentioned it last week. Maybe we did. I don't know. Whatever. But that Black Hawk that wrecked at
Yeah.
Dulles, right? Not
Uh-huh.
Dulles, not Ron Reagan in
Yeah.
DC.
It was Reagan. It was Reagan. Was it
Was it
Ronald
Reagan? I thought it
Reagan?
was Dulles.
No, it was
Okay.
Reagan.
All right. Dulles is the better one.
Well, the Dulles is the one farther away from DC.
That's why it's better. Apparently, they're saying that the crew may not have heard to uh, go behind
Mhm.
this DC bound passenger airliner, but I don't know. I heard the little audio thing that got released. They definitely heard it. They responded to it. The thing is, they
I
thought it
think
was a
they're
different.
responding to a different aircraft they
Exactly. They were
spotted.
looking at the other plane.
Because the air traffic control people weren't very specific. They didn't give like a direction to be looking or anything like that. You know, they just said, "You see the aircraft."
Yeah. I mean, it's too bad. A bunch died. Soccer team, I guess. Our soccer players, was it? Gymnasts?
Figure skaters.
Russian and American.
Yeah.
And they were in, yes. That actually, when I remember when I read that, I was like, Russian figure skaters. All right. But yeah, I got a feeling they were looking at a different plane and didn't ah issues, man. Like there's too much stuff going on in these air traffic control places, you know.
They're
That's
not
why
enough people.
these guys literally shorten their lives by doing the job. So did you see Google officially changed the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America?
Yes.
That's on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Uh
Apple's done it
Me-
too.
oh, there you go. And what Mexico is looking to sue Google
Yeah.
over what?
Over the name change.
What authority does Mexico have to name the Gulf of Mexico?
None.
Um,
Did you see where when Trump was flying in the Super Bowl, they flew over the Gulf of America?
I did not. I
Yeah,
did not notice.
they talked about on the Clay and Buck show that they flew over the Gulf and the pilot came on and said, "We wanted to welcome you to the new Gulf of America," you know. They flew by and then landed for the Super Bowl.
Wow. Yeah, no, I missed that part. It sucks. I actually I missed actual kickoff too. I came into like halfway through the first play because I went to go do something in the kitchen and lost track of a couple minutes. And I was like, oh my God, I missed kickoff. I was like, what was the coin toss? What was the coin toss?
You didn't miss much. Not a whole lot
Wow.
happened in the first half.
Well, no, I had a bet on the coin toss.
Oh, okay.
I said the goofy bets are the fun ones. Uh, anyway, the Associated Press apparently has been banned from the Oval Office over this
I
Gulf
got
of
an update
Mexico
on
thing.
this. They're not just banned from the Oval Office because they protested this ban. And so the White House came out and said, well, you're no longer allowed on Air Force One either.
Yeah, what's her name? The press secretary.
Yeah. Caroline
Um,
Levitt. She's
she
really good. She's really good at the job.
yeah, she's no McEnany.
But she's no Kareem St. James Pierre either. You know, she has no book with tabs in it. She does everything off the top of her head.
Yeah, I like the tabs though. It's like, oh, by the way, here are the numbers, you know. Versus, I don't know what you're talking about. You're a bad person. But yeah, she came out with a big thing about like the Oval Office is the president's like personal workspace. He does not have to let you in there. This is an invite. He's just not inviting you in because you're a douchebag. It's like, you
Right.
know what? Now you're not allowed on his plane either. Like, how dare you? He's like, quit bitching or it'll be worse. You know,
Yeah.
we'll take your press credentials and the press corps. Oh, okay. Who's Luna? Because when I hear Luna, I picture an old WW.
She's a Republican in the House of Representatives from Florida.
Okay,
Anna
I hear.
Pauline Luna, she's heading up a task force to probe the
Oh yeah,
JFK assassination, Jeffrey Epstein, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
The deep secrets.
I guess she thinks now that there are two shooters as well.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, I don't know if I even care enough to look at this stuff myself. You know what I mean? I mean, it was before I was born. It's been a mystery. Oh, it's been a mystery. Someone else will get to the bottom of this shit. I don't need to read it myself. You know what I mean? In terms of the Kennedy thing, the Epstein list, I'd like to see that come out. All right. So, oh my God, these UFO assholes, dude.
Yep.
What? I hope El Matadoro is listening, even though I know he's not. It's never aliens. It's not aliens. Whenever it is aliens, they're trying to distract you from something else. But they're talking about how these declassifications could cause expose these like cover-ups for the past decades. And the crazy thing, I was like, yeah, how they're hiding money, they're doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. But they say no, they're hiding all the alien stuff.
Right.
No, no, there's other people on this planet. How does the United States have a monopoly on this shit? But anything else you want to talk about, Brian?
No.
All right then. Well, let's go ahead and pinch this turd off.
All right.